Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
With the 9th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Spencer Fano, tackle, Utah. With the 28th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Caleb Lomu, tackle, Utah.
Well, PK, we were told all year that the Utes had 2 first-round draft picks, and there it is. They go 9th and 28th, exactly as advertised. No surprises. That was the range they were supposed to be in, top 10 and late first round.
Yeah, it's good they joined the Sun Devils, 2 first-round picks.
2 for the Utes, 2 for the Devils, 2 for the rest of the Big 12, who had 6 first-round
That's
picks.
a decent showing. It's not Ohio State that had like 6 in the top 10, as usual.
They did have 4 guys named right out of the gate and just blowing through there. The Big Ten's like, yeah, we had the most with 10, and Ohio State's over there. Yeah, we did the heavy lifting. That was cute from the rest of you guys.
Well, Ohio State says that if you're not a first-round pick, they're not even interested in recruiting you. So that's what they do, obviously. But, yeah, good for the local guys. They lived up to the billing. They had that billing at this time last year after the draft was over, particularly Fano, who pretty much had it after his freshman year. He just had to wait his time, which was 3 years. Lomu, I think, played like 25 snaps his first year, so he got a redshirt season, so he had 2 years of eligibility if he wanted, but he didn't want it. He needed to go make the money. Good for him, having that opportunity to go in the first round, 2 offensive linemen. It's what Utah does, man. They put guys in the trenches that go to the NFL regularly. This is just another 2.
Ohio State with 4 of the top 11 picks. How much pressure on Ryan Day to win, no matter what Kyle does at Michigan or Indiana? Man, it's Ohio State. They got 4, and there's nobody close.
Yeah, I think it's been that way forever and ever. Woody Hayes, John Cooper, Earl Bruce, the one other little dude who was from Ohio that went back into administration. I can't think of his name. I could see his face. And Ryan Day, Urban Meyer, it's Ohio State. I mean, it hasn't changed at any point. So it just the pressure is always there. You have to win and win big.
So the other storylines, as expected, Fernando Mendoza, number 1 to the Raiders. The second pick, yes, Texas Tech. I guess they're spending the money on the right guys, right? David Bailey goes number 2. Right. The Chiefs move up to 6 to not help the offense, to help the defense.
Oh, it's football, man. You need help everywhere. And the Raiders thing, that Al Davis impression that you do, I don't think most people get that anymore.
That's other people doing Al Davis.
I like what the Raiders did in Mendoza. I mean, he was a star. And now they, last year they drafted running back Genti out of Boise State. The year before, the Bowers kid, the tight end. So you got some good weapons there to build around. I would think at some point, you keep drafting these high picks, you've got to start getting some momentum in the win column.
And Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame running back, goes 3rd. The return of the running back was Ashton Genti last year. Jeremiah Love, we're starting to see people use high picks on backs.
Well, I guess if you're good enough. But, the Love pick, the Cardinals need help all over the place. They didn't think there was a quarterback there. I think most people were surprised that the kid from Alabama went to the Rams at 13, and good for him. That's a great spot to be in. I don't know if he's going to turn out to be anything, but for him, that's a good spot to be in. The Cardinals have James Conner and a kid named Tyler Algier. So we'll see what he can do there. He's going to have some competition, but, he was really good in college. Most people looked at him as the runner-up in the Heisman, if there is such a thing, that he was that good. And he, high, big-time exposure stage. You're not going to get any higher from where he came from, Notre Dame.
And now Ty Simpson goes into the Jordan Love role, right? And Stafford becomes the guy on the clock. How long will Aaron Rodgers stay in Green Bay? Stafford, and he signed for a couple more years. Not that he couldn't retire.
I think
after
Stafford
one
is signed for one
it.
more year, is what they were saying this season.
Day 2 of the NFL Draft starts tonight, 5 o'clock. DJ and PK.
#NBA.
If there is one, are you going to be able to rebound it?
Get it in. McCollum fires. Hawks take the lead. 109 to 108.
Nowhere to go. Gave it up to Barrett. Barrett on the drive. Put it up and in. Little teardrop from RJ. 58-0. Barrett outside to Barnes. Barnes in the teeth of the defense once again. Barnes.
1 of 8 from downtown. That's the second time that Spencer has touched the ground. He took that one from St. Paul. He was so far away.
Highlights from the NBA playoffs, 3 games. Nikola Jokic struggling to shoot the ball, just a little better than 25% from the floor. And they didn't have Aaron Gordon, and they don't have a win either. Game 3, Minnesota dominates. They're up 2-1 in that series.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at their top 2 scorers, 7 from 26, and for Murray, 5 of 17. I mean, we can talk all about all these things you want to talk about, but if the ball don't go in no hoop, you're in trouble. They shot 34% from the floor and 25% from the 3. You're going to lose most times when you shoot that poorly, especially from your 2 main guys, your 2 all-stars. What's that, 12 field goals and whatever 26 plus 17 is? 43, 33, 63, 73? I don't know.
Cleveland loses in Toronto, so Toronto gets a win for the first time. Cleveland's still up 2-1 in that series. The Cleveland bench shot the ball pretty well, but the Cleveland starters from 3, an atrocious 5 of 25, 20%. Yikes. Donovan Mitchell, 15 points in the 126-104.
Yeah, that's less than half of the average in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's basketball, man. He's not going to shoot a high-level percentage every time. If I'm Cleveland, whoop-de-doo. It's going to happen. I don't care who you are. Mitchell's a good player. He's all-star and all that caliber for sure, but, I mean, he's not an all-time great. Whereas Steph Curry, if Steph Curry has bad games, which he's had, then Donovan Mitchell's going to have them. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in. We can complicate this sport as much as you want, but often that's what it boils down to.
Hawks beat the Knicks 109-108. Atlanta wins at home. They are up 2-1. C.J. McCollum with the big shot to put the Hawks in front. And then the Knicks couldn't get a shot off in the last sequence, ended up throwing it in their backcourt and losing the game. So the Hawks now up 2-1 on a New York team with high hopes and high expectations and now a hole to dig out of.
Well, I think that I've seen this so many times. You're worried about getting the last shot. Just get it. Why not get a great shot right off the bat if you can get one? And maybe they couldn't get one in this case. It wasn't like there was anything that was just wide open. But so many times you see them, they're worried about the clock, and then they don't get a good shot. In this case, they didn't even get any form of a shot. Dribble to the baseline and allow the baseline to become another defender, and you got nowhere to go.
Yep. And it was a little guy trying to score around big guys, and Brunson didn't have anywhere to go, any way to get a shot off, so when he tried to find a guy out top, he threw it in the backcourt, and that's the end of that.
It broke my heart.
The team of your youth, the New York Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
The Sixers and the Celtics 1-1 play in Philly tonight. The Lakers up 2-0 going to Houston, and the Spurs and Blazers are 1-1. Big Vic, what's going to happen? When will we see him again? Bum. Those are the 3 games tonight, all on Prime Video. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
The draft, we mentioned the Big Ten led the way with 10. The SEC had 7 players picked in the first round. The ACC 6, the Big 12 5. 2 for Notre Dame and 1 for the group of 6. So now the conferences can beat the chest over that, and then I guess beat their chest after rounds 2 and 3.
You told us the Big 12 had 6. Now they got 5?
The Big 12 does have 6. 5, my bad. 6. UCF had a guy drafted. In addition, David Bailey went 2. The Devils had 2, and the Utes had 2. It was 6. And college football playoff expansion talks left unresolved. Debate continues over what will it be, a 16-team tournament, a 24-team tournament. What are they going to do? They can't agree, so it drags on. Rounds of meetings and all that stuff and blah, 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 yada, yada.
Yeah, I think this was the commissioners and Notre Dame's athletic director was there to discuss all that stuff down in Dallas. Going back and forth. Yormark didn't think it was going to get done for a bit now, so obviously this year it's going to be 12. I don't see why they just don't go to 16 and then see where it's at. Why have to have a definitive, this is what it's going to be for whatever? I don't have any problem with trying out things and then go from there.
Wonder how much of it is ego between the Big Ten and the SEC. They've dug in. No, we're going to do what we want. We're going to do what we want. And everybody else on the sideline looking at
They're not doing what we want.
Yeah. So right now it's saying at 12, which nobody wants, but that's where it is. But when Yormark can so accurately predict this in advance, it doesn't seem like
if you predict it in the
so far in
past,
advance,
then it's not a prediction. It's a fact, right?
If he knows it weeks ago, then it's not really a negotiation now. People are dug in.
Well, he said it at the Big 12 football game when they had the press conference before. I was there. He said he did not anticipate it happening for next season, which would now be this upcoming season.
So you're basically 4.5, almost 5 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
The breaking news.
The news is already out there. Today I'm officially declaring for the 2026 NBA draft. But as y'all all know, there was not contribution, but my mom wanted me to stay in college for real to graduate. But I told my mother that I'm gonna declare for the draft, but I'm gonna finish and get my degree online. I'll probably finish within the next 4 years. I'm gonna stay at BYU, enroll in classes online. I'll probably major in mass communications and just get my degree online because I wanted to make both of them happy. Obviously, their ultimate goal is for me to go to college for free.
There's A.J. DeBonsa making it official. He's headed to the NBA draft. He's going to get a college degree. And will he go number 1 in the 2026 NBA draft? I expect he will, but we don't even know the draft order till May 10th. So there is A.J. doing what really we expected, PK. He's going pro.
Well, the system demands it. And sure, you can get your degree online if that's what you want. I like it. Anybody who does that then becomes a spokesperson, man or woman, for other young people because there's going to be maybe 20 people in his lifetime who have the basketball talent that he has, and he's going to make millions. He did not go to college for free. He was handsomely rewarded. He didn't have to pay anything. But the 99.9, particularly in communities that struggle financially, this is your way out. If there's ever a way out, or your best way out, put it that way, is through education. And then he could stand up there and speak to young people as his profile is going to get exponentially larger and larger over the next 15 years. And then he can speak to people, young people, impressionable people, and say, yeah, this is what you need to do. I think it's absolutely awesome if he does it.
There's all sorts of studies out there about what you make if you have a GED or a high school degree versus if you don't. And then if you go get some type of degree and training from a trade school. How much more do you make? And how much more do you make if you go to a 2-year school or a 4-year school or get a graduate degree? So you can see all the trends out there if you chase them. Like you said, it's a well-worn path. It doesn't make it an easy path for people, especially depending on whatever they have to overcome or where they're starting from.
Yep.
But there is a path there. And, you don't have to look any further than the junior colleges here and the numbers for Snow and for Slick and the number of people going and getting degrees and making more money and helping themselves and their families out.
Yep.
All right, DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
And Jeffers is swinging a fly ball into left field. Back it goes. Deep it goes. Tie game! Ryan Jeffers, an 8th-inning grand slam. And the Twins have come back. It is 7-7 at Citi Field. Now Bichette hits one toward the gap in left center field. Racing back, Rodick. He won't get there. It's off the wall. Beatty is in. Semien scores. Fan scores. Bo Bichette drives in 3 with a bases-clearing double.
Tonight is the 1-0. There's a swing, and that ball's belted out to right field. And that is hit a ton. It is gone. Seager's 6th home run of the year. A no-doubter.
Highlights from around Major League Baseball. The Mets were up 6-1 in the second inning. It looked like they were going to snap their massive 12-game losing streak, and then you heard Minnesota battling back to tie it in the 8th at 7. But the Mets pulled themselves together and get the 10-8 win, so the streak is over. They got a lot of work to do to even their record up and get back to 500, but they do get the 10-8 win over Minnesota and end the streak. Now we can turn our attention to Philadelphia, PK. They lost their 9th in a row as the Cubs won their 9th in a row.
Yeah, I think they ended the streak 2 nights ago, but Lindor is out too because he came home with a run a couple of nights ago and felt something in his leg, and he's one of their better players, so the Mets are up against it. The Phillies, man, they're up against it. They've got a long losing streak. Cubs got a big winning streak. My guy, Cam Schindler, goes to hometown. His dad, the chief of police in one of the communities in Boston, and he pitches well. People were throwing stuff at him in the bullpen. Those Boston fans, they're so classless. I hate them.
And the Yankees have won 6 in a row now.
Yes, they have.
Look at the Yankees go with that.
I look at them, man. I look at them often. The team that was closest to my home, literally. I mean, the Mets were a few miles away.
All right, DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Picked up by Lehkonen. We'll go low to high for Devon Taves. Cale Makar. Picked up by LaFerriere. Winding shot, scores! A beautiful seeing eye shot by Cale Makar. For Taylor Hall. Hall fans on a pass. Gets it back. Miller feeds Blake. They score! The Hurricanes respond and retake the lead. Jackson Blake. 2-1 Carolina. Comes to Byram. Middle of the ice for Krebs. Saka got on him in a hurry. Now it's Tuck with a shot and he scores! Alex Tuck has put the Sabres ahead.
Stanley Cup playoff highlights. Sabres win in Boston 3-1. They're up 2-1 in this series, and we're working on a couple of potential sweeps. Carolina beat Ottawa 2-1. They're up 3-0. Colorado beats LA 4-2. They are up 3-0. And that is what the
picked up by Lehkonen.
Mammoth were playing to avoid, PK. Avoid the Avalanche. They look awesome, and it's 3-0 in the first round series.
Yeah, I don't have that mindset of avoiding somebody because at that point I'm immediately defeated. Once I want to avoid anything, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to lose. I've already set myself up. But that's neither here nor there now. It's all about making history in Salt Lake City, the first playoff game ever in the NHL. In the state of Utah. That's
tonight.
Extremely exciting. The
7:30
will be there.
Delta Center. History will be made. And they'll be back for Game 4 on Monday, and we have tickets to that game that will be given away in the 8 o'clock hour. So stick around. Lower Bowl tickets to see Game 4 Monday night. We will give them away in the 8 o'clock hour this morning. There are your headlines. That's what's trending. And it is all brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. David Locke's going to join us this morning at 8:30. Pablo Mastroianni at 9 o'clock. Stick around. DJ and PK, the question of the day is next.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it is time for the question of the day. Former Utes Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu get drafted in the first round. Business as usual for the Utah program? Question mark. Alex, well, according to Joel Klatt, it's death, taxes, and Utah football.
That's right. He's been pushing that.
He loves that line.
For a long time, man. And, most often he's right in terms of winning. You can't win it all and go to the Rose Bowl, or now, obviously, the Big 12 title game is where it's at until they wake up and realize those games are dumb and they get rid of them, which they will. But the program has been very successful for many, many years. And on the second, which was Lomu, obviously, that you heard Kirk Herbstreit. People in Michigan are wondering what they're going to get. This is what they're going to get from a Kyle Whittingham program. And that was something that has been a staple. Yeah. And I think they're going to get that. I mean, they've already been talking about this Heitler kid, the running back from Michigan, who's an incoming freshman who was there for spring ball. They re-recruited him, I guess, and he chose to stay. Why wouldn't you, man? If I'm that kid and I got Kyle Whittingham coming to Utah or Michigan, and I know how many great offensive linemen they've put in, how many great running backs they've had, 1,000-yard rushers, blah, blah, blah. The history is there, and I don't think it's going to change. How many carries you're going to get? Yeah. Because you are going to get the ball. Especially if you're good enough. With Jason Beck, and Jason Beck's talked about, I take my guys and we tailor our offense to the talent that we have. Now, we're talking about Utah. That's Michigan. But I think that we're going to see a continuation of that. I don't know that Morgan Scalley is going to deviate. It's going to be fascinating to see over the next 5 years. I don't think we're going to see a big change from last year to this year with a returning quarterback. What do we do as far as what goes on? And then I assume Bird takes over, the Ficklin kid, after next season. At that point, he'll have 2 years. So we may have to get 5 years out before we actually see a quarterback that isn't a Kyle Whittingham guy, in a sense, take over for Utah. It might literally be for 4 years, with 1 year of Dampier and 2 years of Ficklin. Who knows with the transfer portal what can happen, but just going on that assumption, I think that Utah will still be known as a program that is tough in the trenches, and you go there and you end up, if you're good, if you're a multi-year starter, if you start young, you're probably going to be an NFL guy, and that's really cool.
This is pretty much what Utah has done in the draft for a decade now. Last year was a little bit of a blip because Lohner was drafted, and I don't think anybody else was. So that would kind of be the outlier. You look over the last 10 years, though, and this is how it goes. They're going to put, ballpark 5, 6, 7 guys in any given draft, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. You can actually look at the NFL draft, and it reflects what Kyle Whittingham said about needing to upgrade the talent joining the Pac-12. And, getting 3 years in and have better classes. And then you can see kind of the rise in the draft by the time they get to 2017. But you can draw a bigger comparison and say this is what Utah football has been for 25 years. Not quite as consistently, but those Sugar Bowl and Fiesta Bowl teams produced a lot of draft picks, if not that very year, then the year after also.
Absolutely, yeah. What was the Sugar Bowl was 2004?
2008.
Right?
So it was the 2009
I meant Fiesta Bowl.
draft.
I was going back to Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, the Fiesta Bowl team, it was 04, and the 05 draft, they had 5 guys picked, and then a couple more got picked the next year and the year after that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, they had some, obviously some sophomores and juniors who were on that Fiesta Bowl team who were really good. Eric Weddle was one of those guys.
Yeah. This is a program, and they can tout that, and they should tout that.
Yep.
Because kids want to play, most of them, I think, want to go to the NFL. That's where the money is. And that's what you've been doing. Who wouldn't want to play ball for a living if you have that opportunity rather than nothing against any other job? But when you're that young, and you're only young for a bit, NFL lifespan is so short that you've got a lot of time to do whatever else you want to do. As we just saw with DeBonsa and heard from DeBonsa, he wants to get his degree. And good for him. He's got the world by the tail right now. But it's going to go by once he starts hitting 33, 34, he's going to look, wow, man, these last 15 years, they just blew by. Everybody does. Maybe when you're young, you don't really think about it because it's not something that 35 years old to you is way old, as it should be when you're 19. But it goes by fast. And so the point I'm making is you can go do whatever other job you want to do after you're done. If you're playing NFL football at 35, you should consider yourself extremely fortunate. You'll have plenty of time to do whatever it is you want to do and go get the money now. Plus you'll have the money, man. And then if you use the money and don't let the money use you, you set yourself up. And Devon Vele talking about wanting to own an engineering firm. He's on his way if that's what he wants.
Yeah, and DeBon's saying he wants to major in mass communications. It's like he's got the personality, he's got the charisma. There's media work waiting for him somewhere, and who knows what the media look like when he's done playing in the NBA, but there'll be some type of media work somewhere. Someone will be talking about basketball, and looks like he's lining himself up to be one of those people.
Well, I think that his future includes coaching the Jazz, doesn't it?
After he plays there 15 years and wins a bunch of titles.
Or succeeding Kevin Young as the coach.
Oh, I see what you did
at BYU. There. Nice. That would be something. Who knows what's ahead for him? They got to be living the dream. They had yesterday. I forget which parents. Oh, I think it might have been Simpson. They interviewed his parents, and his mother's choking up, and his father. This is something I wish everyone should experience. Yeah, well, hardly anyone is going to experience it, and they act like the kid has been trained since he was out of the crib. The dad's a football coach. This wasn't by accident. This is what it was all about. They've worked for this since the kid was old enough to walk, and he got it. And that doesn't mean you can't be emotional. And we saw Spencer Fano, our guy for KSL Sports. Steve Bartle was there and, hugging his father. And he knew it was coming, too. It's like it's not a surprise. He knew it was coming. It was going to come. It was just a matter of which pick. But still, it's a notable opportunity for them. And if you go to the University of Utah and I believe, especially if you're getting significant time as a freshman, you're in. I look at some of the freshmen who've played. Spencer Fano, right?
Yep.
He started from day one. Zach Moss got significant carries as a freshman. Eric Rowe, Clark Phillips, Jalen Johnson. These are guys just right off the top of my head without even looking or thinking about it. If you play a significant amount as a freshman at the U of U, you're going to the NFL. That's a fact. And I don't know that it's changing anytime soon.
More reaction from people about this. Shots fired here, PK. They just can't help themselves. The question, and this wasn't, well, I guess maybe we should have anticipated this where it's going. Former Utes Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu get drafted. Business as usual for the Utah program. And Brandon says, except for the winning. To which Baylor answers, 11-2 isn't good enough, huh? And that leads to a bunch of laughing, crying emojis and comments. So
Utah had its most underrated 11-2 season in the history of the program. And I would dare say in the history of college football. They are 11-2, and they were barely talked about. And the thing that we're going to remember from this season, this past season, is that's when Kyle Whittingham left. That was his last season as the winningest coach in the history of the program, rather than the actual team 11-2. Think about that, man. They were 11-2. So many ho-hum wins, capped by a ho-hum win that they just dominated Nebraska in Vegas right from the start. Wasn't much of a game. They should keep playing in Vegas, man. Aren't they undefeated since they went in the Pac-12 in Vegas? That's their home away from home. We talk about how BYU was. BYU saved the Vegas Bowl back in the early days of Bronco because the bowl was on life support in terms of attendance, and then BYU goes, 5 years in a row, was it? 4, 6? I don't even remember. I have to look it up. And then, they have to add extra stands, and one of them capped off by the BYU-Utah game in which they weren't scheduled to play that season, and they did, and it was sold out. It was fun. I remember doing the pregame show out there because the old Sam Boyd at Big Field, and we were out there, and that was just awesome. And now you look at Utah, when they go down there, they win, and they dominated, and it was an 11-2 season, but it's almost like it's not even thought of as an 11-2 season for some strange reason. They were an outstanding football program, and one of the losses was not that the venue matters between BYU and Utah, so I can't really say on the road as if it was a big travel thing, but it was a 3-point game with an onside kick, an opportunity to recover it and maybe tie it up or win it. Who knows?
It was by wins and losses, it was Kyle's second best season. But they weren't playing in a conference title game, which they did 4 other times when they had, what turned out to be 3 and 4 loss seasons. So to just be sitting there with 2 defeats, it sets that apart. Aside, obviously, the Sugar Bowl season, they didn't lose at all. That's his best record by numbers. So he had higher ranked teams, and he had teams that were in conference title games or won conference championships, and the Rose Bowl teams will be remembered fondly. But as a winning percentage, 11-2, second best ever, and you're right. It's a footnote to Kyle left.
Yeah.
To Michigan.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think that the footnote is that he stopped coaching at Utah. He could have gone anywhere for him, but I think it's from Utah. It's the fact that they decided that he needed to go, essentially. They made him an offer he couldn't accept. But the team was really good, which leads me to optimism for next season, that the team will, again, be really good. And they'll have to replace the offensive line, understood, because they have 2 studs there that go in the first round. And they can use that, man. Morgan can use that in his recruiting, that's not going to change, that's still who we are. We are going to be tough in the trenches, and our guy Joel Klatt will continue to sing our praises because we're not changing. I agree. Way to go.
Jared says it's great for the program, but especially those players that put in the work to be great. Sounds like Jared took a lot of satisfaction out of sitting there watching the Utes get drafted.
I've got no problem with that, man. That's who you guys are. Tough. You're going to get a team that's going to give you everything you want, and we're going to be physical, blah, blah, blah. I see no reason why that stamp that has been put on that program for a long, long time doesn't continue. Yeah, that's a great selling point. And these guys, they didn't get off track. Some kids get off track. There's, in all sports, they've got the talent to. There's kids in high school who got the talent to go play in the colleges, but they get off track. And there's kids in the colleges that have the talent, but they get off track to go play in the NFL, and it doesn't happen. And these 2 stuck with it and did what they were supposed to do. Yeah, that's role model-ish type behavior. You got to be big enough. I mean, and they are. They have the size, so they can get that thing done. But, yeah, they deserve the credit for doing what they needed to do. And, their good fortune, they stayed relatively injury-free, and they were able to play. And now this is their reward, but in a strange way, it's just the start. It's not a culmination of anything. It's the beginning of something.
The beginning of a new lucrative chapter for both these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what they do. First round in the NFL, you're expected to play because anytime a first-round pick is released in the first 2 or 3 years, it's always noteworthy. Like, oh my gosh, what happened? You know what I mean? As far as that goes.
Yeah, it's a story when they swing and miss that high.
Yeah. And we'll see what the Browns do. I have no idea. But and you got the Patriot thing with this stupid Vrabel nonsense. And but they seem to be a team that is on the ascend with the nice. I don't know what's going to happen with Vrabel. I just don't get these guys. Was it worth it? Was it that special? Was it that much different? Doing what with your wife? They really had to go do that? What the heck?
Well, we left it out. I mean, now it's more the salacious stuff. But man, there was a lot of salacious stuff coming out yesterday. Holy cow! A lot of speculation.
Was it worth it? That's all.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
It doesn't seem like it. It seems like it'd be pretty embarrassing. And
now, if it was Heather Locklear, that might be another story.
Easy does. Yeah, and just the level of embarrassment he seemed to have, just having to get up there.
Of course, he should be.
Yeah, I mean,
how about the wife and kids?
Yeah.
Hey, come on, man! My goodness, so many men have been taken down by that. It's ridiculous, but I assume he's going to continue to coach, and I assume the team is going to be better than it was last year. So Lomu steps into a winning situation, which tends to happen the later that you are drafted. That's what's going to be cool about the Jazz this year when they draft. That young man is not stepping into a losing situation. Now, I know, they've been losing for 4 years in a row, but that's over. That's freaking over, man. This team is going to win next season to the point it's going to be boring. It's going to be like in the old days. Wasn't it boring in a sense that the Jazz won? Yeah, of course they won. They're supposed to win.
No.
Yeah, that's boring. I think it'll get to that.
It will. I don't think it'll get to that year one.
Maybe
not.
It
does get to that.
But maybe it will. When you say you don't think, that means you're opening up the possibility that it will.
I believe that the anticipation of will they get to 45, will they get to 50, will they get to 55, will they be seated 8, 6, or 4, whatever, higher than that, that will drive whatever happens next year. Now, you get a little further out, you do get into a stretch, and we saw this when Sloan was just stacking up 50-win seasons. It's like, all right, they're going to be in the 4 or 5 series. Let's get to the playoffs, and here we go.
I'm putting no limits on these guys. Let them put them on themselves. I'm not going to put any limits. I'll put high expectations, but I'm not going to go floor. I'm willing to talk about ceiling, but I don't want to talk about floor. No. Not after 4 years of crap. Nope. Not next season. And Lomu, that's the same thing with the Patriots, right? You establish the Patriots right off the bat as AFC winners. That's the floor. Minimum.
They got to do that again, or it's a bust.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, unless this coaching situation has really screwed it up, but it is just one man, and no one's doubting his coaching ability. It's amazing how all these guys. Obviously, we saw it with Tiger. You got all this, fooling around stuff, but it didn't. Once he got on the tees, it didn't seem to get in the way. And now we see these other two ding-dongs have been doing this for years. And clearly, it was compartmentalized because the Patriots had a breakout season last season, right? Yeah, they did, and so we expect that's the bar. That's the same thing with the Jazz. Whatever they do in the 26-27 season, that's the bar. That's the low point. It'll be the high point in the last 5 years. Understood, but beyond that, that becomes the bar, right? And then you have to continue to clear it. It gets to a point where it's impossible to clear it. OKC, hopefully you get to that point. Like OKC can't clear the bar. They can reach it again, but But they can't get any higher, I guess, unless they sweep everybody and their dog. But that'd be awesome. But I wouldn't want that, because then that seems like, oh, man, the competition sucked. Then you invite that, right? Whereas last year it went right down to the end. And actually for OKC, they can, if you want, Halliburton went down or else, you know what I mean? They can put to rest all that stuff this season by winning it. You can't get lucky a couple of years in a row. You want to give them luck one time, okay, fine. But if you win 2 titles consecutively, that means you're really good.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. History will be made tonight. Where does it rank on the list of historic sports nights in our state? We will get to that next. Stay with us. The KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at kslsports.com/contest. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Got multiple questions up on our Facebook page, and one of them deals with a big game that sits right in front of us tonight. History will be made with the first NHL playoff game in Salt Lake City. Where does it rank on the list in the state? Eldon, right up there with the 2 championships the Grizzlies won. For now.
Oh, I think it's higher than that.
I do too. Minor league sports versus this? Nah, I'd go with this. Kirk, hi. We've been waiting since 1969 to have a Stanley Cup game here. That's very specific.
What happened in 69?
Well, the late 60s is when the league started expanding. I think it was a year or two before that, but I think there was a big wave. I mean, I think the NHL expanded really quickly from 6 to 16, 18, 20 teams, somewhere in there, over like 2, 3, 4 years. So maybe at that point there was some anticipation this was such a good minor league hockey market that they'd get an NHL team. I don't know specifically why he picked 69. Maybe that's when he was born or when he moved here. I don't know. I haven't been waiting since 69. You haven't been waiting since 69. But Kirk has.
Well, I've only been waiting 1 year.
Cam, it all depends on how far they go in the playoffs.
No, it doesn't. No. This is akin to April 17th, 1984. That's what this is. And that was the night that the Jazz went in Utah. That was the first time they made the playoffs. They played the Denver Nuggets. The game was at the Salt Palace. It was not sold out. Attendance was 10,000 plus. And then game 2 was 12,000. Now, I never went in the Salt Palace, so I don't know how many it seats. But if they had 2,000 more, that would indicate that the first game was not sold out. And they won that first game. They beat the Denver Nuggets 123-121. I looked it up.
Well, that would indicate then that as exciting as this is in the moment, on the all-time list, it becomes more of a footnote.
What does?
Having the first playoff game.
No.
Because nobody really talks about that first playoff game. I couldn't have told you anything about it until right there.
Because you weren't here.
What?
You didn't live here. Of course you couldn't. No one expected you to be able to recite anything. But for the old-timers, that they could recite it vividly. If you were here, and in 1984, if you were 19 years old or what have you, and knowing the sports fan that I know you to be, you would know it, but you weren't here. So, of course, you had no knowledge of it. That's understood. That's not news.
But it would be topped by all the stuff that came afterwards. And we're anticipating stuff's going to come afterwards.
But, right. Top it. But stuff hasn't come. This is in the moment right now. The moment is today. And everything now is way bigger. You're putting it on an even plane. No. Nothing in 1984 is as big as what goes on in 2026. They didn't have a plaza. They didn't have sports radio stations. Jake and Ben will be there broadcasting at 2 o'clock. The TV stations will be there. It's going to be way bigger. Hatback will be running around passing out you free sweatshirts or something if you're a Vegas fan. Hey,
free merch, people.
Yeah. Who was it? Battistone? Did he own the team then? Was he on the plaza? Hey, look at me. No.
I don't know.
Of course you didn't know.
What did the plaza look like outside the Salt
There
Palace?
was no plaza. This is a whole corner street. It's a square block. It's way bigger. It was probably on local television, too, if at all.
Yeah, it would have certainly been on local TV.
And here it's going to be on national, international, galactically, the people up in Canada. And how about this? Vegas against Salt Lake City in the NHL? Nobody would have thought of that a decade ago because the two teams didn't even exist. Yeah. So, I mean, comparing it to then, no. But for those people who were around and were NBA fans, that was a big deal. For those 10,000 plus and whoever else, what was cool about the game is that the Jazz, 4 3-point attempts, all by one person. Guess who it was? They were 1 for 4 from 3.
On that roster, who would it have been? I got it down to 2 guys. I'll say Dr. Duncanstein.
Which is sort of ironic. He's the only guy who shoots the threes, and he's known for dunking.
Yep.
What the crap are you shooting threes for if you're known for dunking?
The only guy who can make them.
He was 1 for 4. Yeah, I struggled that night. He was 4 for 15. Thurl was on that team.
Big T.
You think he remembers it? I bet you he does.
Yeah, he probably does.
He started, played 28 minutes at a pedestrian game, only had 4 FGAs. He's thinking, come on, AD, pass me the ball.
Well, that wasn't what AD was there for, man.
He was 9 of 22.
Talk to anybody who played with AD, man. AD was there to get shots up.
Yeah, it was the big 3 in terms of FGAs were Adrian Dantley, Ricky Green, and Daryl Griffith. And Thurl and Mark rounded out the starting 5. And my father's favorite Phoenix son of all time played 23 minutes off the bench, was 3 for 3 from the field, 6 for freaking 6 from the free throw line.
I didn't know your father had any favorite sons. I thought he hated everything about Phoenix
except
sports.
This one guy.
One guy broke through, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He played for both teams.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.
You got to guess who it was.
Did Rich Kelly play for both
teams?
Yes. Okay, all right.
I knew you'd know.
Well, I lucky guess.
He loved Rich Kelly
because
because Rich Kelly was kind of an off-the-wall guy.
Yeah.
And Rich Kelly entertained him in interviews. And so he loved when Rich Kelly, when he played for the Suns, when Rich Kelly did well, he loved it because Rich Kelly was a funny dude. John Drew came off the bench. That game was 11 of 13.
Oh, look out.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
DJ and PK, coming up 8 o'clock hour, we got to give away tickets to see Game 4 of the Utah Mammoth and the Vegas Golden Knights. That's coming up after the break. Stick around for that. We've also got David Locke joining us at 8:30. I do think there are lessons in the current playoffs for the Jazz going forward. I think for the Jazz this summer, there is one Jazz player who should be taking notes on what's happening right now. We'll talk with David Locke about that. And then Pablo Mastrone's here at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.